So let's proceed to look at the median and mean of grouped data. Consider the example on the letters. You are quite familiar with this example, so I'll not go into detail explaining what this is all about. But these are letters that a man received each day for a period of 100 days. And we had summarized this in such a figure. Sorry, I still keep on forgetting to work out on this one. This should be a 2. I need to update that. And so this is grouped data, which is a frequency table for that discrete data. Now, we are asked to calculate the median, the mean of the letter data. So here it's just that we have flipped the orientation of the data. The number of letters is appearing in this first row, so as column headings. So 0 letters. We know that that was the most frequent figure that the man for in 48 days he could not get any letter, and so these are the frequency, the counts. 32 days got 1 letter, 17 days 2 days 3 letters, no letter. I mean, there was no instance, no day when he got 4 letters, and then only 1 day when he got 5 letters. So this is the frequency, and this is cumulative frequency. And we need to find the median from this and the mean. So the median, what is the definition? Now, we know 100 is even. Therefore, if we arrange our numbers from the smallest, which is 0, to the largest, which is 5, we need to look at the middlemost numbers, the 2 middlemost numbers. And we know that the 2 middlemost numbers will be number 50 and number 50 plus 1. So at position 50, that's the halfway, then 50 plus 1. So median, there are 100 observations. The median is half the sum of the 50th and 51st observations in ranked order. Now, when we start from 0, I mean from the first one, first day, then we can rank those. When we reach 48 in terms of ranking, they will all be zeros. A one will start at number 49 and another one at number 48, I mean 40 at 50, because we know there are 32 ones. So there will be zeros from the lowest up to number 48, there are zeros. Then from 49, there will be ones up to maybe up to 48 plus 32. I don't know, that would be 70. Is it 70? Maybe the 80th actually. So up to 80, the observation number 80, it will be ones, it will be a 1. Then when you start 81, then you start putting 2s. So from 81 up to 97, you actually have 2s. Then 98, 99, you have, is it 98, 99? You have 2, you have 3s. And then you have no 4s. Then the last one is, then the 100 is you have a 1. So you have put them in a row. You have a 5 at 100. You have put them in a row. So when you reach 50, you have a 1. 51, you have a 1. So basically, you have to add those ones. So we see from the cumulative frequency that both these observations equal 1. The 50th is 1. The 51st is 1. Hence, the median number of letters per day is 1. Why? We add 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2, divide by 2, it is equal to 1. The mean, now the mean basically of the 100 observations, 48 are zeros, 32 are ones, and 17 are twos, and 17 are twos, 2 are threes, 0 fours, 1 5. Hence, the mean equals, sorry, this should not be 40, it should be 48. So 48 times 0 plus 32 times 1 plus 17 times 2 plus 2 times 3 plus 0 times 4 plus 1 times 5 divided by 100. So if we get a total here, the total is 77. Divide by 100, we get 0.77. So that's the mean when that data is grouped. I would like you to look at the following exercises from Clark and Cook, the book of Clark and Cook. Now, what I would do, because I know that most of you may not access physical hard copies, which we do have at the department, I'm going to scan the following pages, or I may scan most of the required pages I'll share with you. And so, but I think the version that I have is slightly different from where I got these exercises. The edition, this one was a lower edition. The one I have may have different numbers. So if I cross-check, I may change these numbers. So, but I've already shared some slides which have these numbers. If I cross-check, I may change and you'll be informed properly. So please try those exercises. Then we have median and mean of grouped continuous data. Remember, continuous data, we can also have a frequency a distribution of continuous data after grouping the observations into some class intervals. So if we are given a table like this one, which is already a frequency distribution of continuous data, we can also calculate the mean and the median. Here, it's data on height in centimeters of 10 plants in pots. The data have been grouped, so the class intervals are 11.5 to 16.5 centimeters, up to 26.5 to 31.5 centimeters. The class center is this, and I hope you know how to calculate the class center. We take the lower limit bound, and the upper we add these two, divide by 2, we get the class center. Frequency, there were 2 observations which fell into this interval, 5 in this interval, 2 in this interval, and then 1 which fell in this interval. And this is the cumulative frequency. So we know that there are 10 observations. This is even. Also, therefore, we need to take 2 numbers in between, add them, divide by 2. So be a little bit attentive. So now, if you look at this, if we start putting them in order, there will be a first number, a second number, a third number. Now, because there are 10 observations, therefore, the 5th number will be somewhere. The 5th and the 6th are the ones that will be in the middle. So we will add the 5th observation and the 6th observation. Now, if you see here, it means these observations basically will be found in this interval. You know, this is continuous. We really don't know which observations these are because this is grouped continuous. So we really can't identify, like in the previous one, we could identify that this is a 1, this is another 1. The 50th and 51st was a 1 and a 1. But here, we don't know these observations, what they were. So, but what we know is that both are falling in this interval. Okay, so we know obviously the median is in this interval. Now, if we assume that the 5 observations which lie in this interval are equally spread out with it, and put each of the center of its own small interval, we obtain this diagram. So what we do, we have done here, we think, okay, maybe these observations are spread equally. We know the interval starts from 16.5 to 21.5. We already have two observations which are falling in the interval somewhere below. So one, the first observation, the second observation, they're in that lower interval. Now the third is falling, we believe the third is falling somewhere here, and the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and then the eighth is falling in the other interval, which is somewhere upper there. Now, so if we do this, so we have split these into some equal intervals also, and then we believe the fifth will be somewhere at the center there, and the sixth is at the center of these smaller intervals. So we need to identify some number which is lying here and another number which is at this center. We add them and divide by 2, and so we get our median. From the definition, the median is the sum of the 10, 10, which is the number of the observations, the fifth and the sixth observations. This value is at the end of the third of the 5 equal intervals, into which the interval 16.5 to 21.5 is divided, and is 19.5. So if we add the number here and the number there, so the number here would be something here, this is 18.5, so this one would be 19. And then the number here, this is 19.5, and this would be 20. So 19 plus 20 divided by 2 would be 19.5. So if we want to calculate the mean, then we need to know how many observations are falling in that particular interval. So for example, in this interval we have 2, that interval we have 5, this interval we have 2, this interval we have 1. In the previous example, because these were discrete observations, the distinct values, we had 0 letters, for example, 1 letter, 2 letters, we could multiply the frequency of the 0 letters times 0. The frequency of the ones times 1. So here, instead of the distinct values, we are going to use the class centers. So the class centers for each interval, they are distinct values that we are going to multiply to their corresponding frequency. And again, here we multiply, and add that, it gives us a total. So that total is what we divide by 10. So this is what we are doing here. 2 times 4 plus 5 times 19 plus 2 times 24 plus 1 times 29. So this is 200 up there, divided by 10 is 20. So our mean is 20. Our median is 19.5, quite close to each other. So again, I will leave you to work on this exercise. There are other exercises on the pages where I'm getting this. So if you want, you can try as many as you can. Yeah, so let's stop here, and I will proceed at a later stage.